Welcome to Diary of a Dreamer, where resilience unlocks your potential. I'm Tasha Eisinger, and each week I'll bring you powerful stories and practical insights from my own experiences and inspiring guests. Whether you're facing challenges or chasing dreams, this podcast is your go-to for motivation, building confidence, and practical tips for transforming obstacles into opportunities. Be sure to check out my website, tashaeisinger.com. Let's dive into today's episode and start turning your dreams into reality. So for anybody that's been following along, this is part 3. And the funny part about this is when Kelly first was like, hey, Tasha, like you need to share these parts of your story on your podcast. And I was like, hey, Kelly Bell, my dear friend, how about you interview me? And I was like, we'll get it done in 3 episodes. And you didn't say anything, but you knew this was never going to happen in 3 episodes. So I have no idea how many it's going to be. But Kelly, if I was going to do this with anybody, I'm so glad it's with you. And you might also regret sharing any ideas in the future because I'm just going to rope you in.
No, I love it. It's been so fun talking with you and hearing your story. I've gotten some inspiration from it, and I hope others do too. But yeah, no, I didn't really think it was going to be 3 episodes. Just from our discovery, a meeting alone, which I think, what did that go on for a couple hours? It's like, yeah, we've got a lot. You've got a lot to share, which is great. I love it.
Well, I like to tease that, my life is content creation.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. So just another disclaimer, we will talk about sensitive subjects during the course of this conversation, and we are not professional medical people. So please, if you are struggling with any of the things that we cover, we're not the experts. Please go get professional help, because we're just teachers, as we established in the last episode.
I love that. I'm doing air quotes, just teachers.
Exactly.
Teachers really should just have like an honorary degree in psychology or something.
I know, right? Oh, goodness.
I'm sorry for anybody who has a degree in psychology. I hope I did not offend you. We are not qualified.
No. But there is something to be said for, dealing with or interacting with, rather, is probably a better term, with so many people on a repetitious, a cycle, through teaching. I mean, you learn a lot. And you don't get to pick the people you interact with. They just come into your life, and you figure it out.
Yep. You learn how to love them.
Yeah, absolutely. So in last episode, we spent a lot of time talking about your early college experience and the passing of your dad, and how that kind of reframed your whole perspective on the world and life and everything, and how you decided to double down on the investment in yourself, which was, getting good grades, getting involved in trying to make your dad proud, which I think it's the best that you could hope for, I think, under those circumstances. It didn't bring you to your knees for too long. You were able to get back up and turn it into a positive, which is one of your superpowers, as we talked about last time, reframing and reshaping things. So all that being said, you got through that little corridor of your life, and you were coming up to the end of college. Tell me a little bit about how college ended for you.
Yeah. Well, something to keep in mind too is grief is lifelong, right?
Oh,
so
for
it
sure.
always goes with you. And I do think gratitude is one of the most important things for people to have, no matter what you're going through, the hard times and the good times, to find gratitude where you can, because it really helps. And, so I graduated college in my 4 years. I was like year 3 and thought maybe I should not be a teacher, but I'm paying for this education. So I'm just sticking with it because it's too late to change now, and I'm not going to switch majors, and I don't even know what I would do anyways.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew that as much as I loved children and teaching, I was like, I don't know if that's the right fit, but you know, I don't know what else I would do. So I, of course, graduated, and then about a week before leaving Purdue, I met my husband. It's so romantic. I met him at a bar.
You know what? Change that word from bar to pub, and then it is romantic.
Well, to be fair, it was Harry's chocolate shop. So, it's a famous bar at least.
Yeah.
And it was through a mutual friend who knew I was single and was trying to set me up with like every guy. It was so embarrassing. I was like, would you stop?
Oh.
So anyway, so she was like, this is Burke. So I met Burke, and I decided to stay for that extra week instead of going back home. And then, went home for the summer and waited tables. And I will say, waitressing, if you ever get a chance to be a server at a restaurant, take it and go consistently, like work there consistently, because that was such a great networking opportunity. Because one of the tables I consistently served was a self-made multi-millionaire. So he tipped really well and was super nice. He liked things the way he liked them, but he always paid for the whole table, no matter how many people. And he tipped a lot of money. And he always requested the 2 college girls to help support us through college.
Aw.
Yeah, it was very sweet. And at that time, Kelly, you know this, the state of Indiana did a huge budget cut
Yep.
of teachers. So, in education. So, my college professors were like, just so you know, none of you are probably getting jobs
Yeah.
because you're competing against teachers who have 5 years of experience. So who are they going to hire?
Yep.
They don't have to pay them really any more than you, and they have more experience.
Yep. Oh, don't I know that truth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a hard time to get a job. So I applied to a lot of places. I got some interviews. I almost got one of them in Angola, but they hired the teacher that had 10 years of experience.
Mhm.
So I was next in line. I'm like, bummer. So I was like, what am I going to do? And I was like, well, I guess I could be an aide somewhere. So the man that I had served all these years, he was like, so how's it going finding a job? And I'm like, not well at all. And he was like, how about you show me your resume? Which I appreciated. I was like, I know he's not going to refer me unless he thinks it makes sense. He like memorized my resume. He said, have you thought about private school? I was like, no, I went to public school, small town public school, had not considered private schools. And he said, I have a connection with the person who's in charge of the entire Archdiocese of Indianapolis. This is only a foot in the door. I'm going to pass on your resume and suggest she takes a look, but it'll be up to you to interview and get the job. I was like, seriously, thank you. Thank you for getting me on the stack, So I got hired at St. Michael in Indianapolis, which was a totally different environment, inner city parochial school. I loved my students. I loved the diversity. I loved the teaching staff. I loved so much about that experience. The first time we had a lockdown, I was like, Syracuse Elementary never had a lockdown. I don't know.
Yeah. No, we did tornado drills.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. I cried the whole way home. I was like, what just happened in my life? Like, what? So, but those kids were just incredible. And I loved my principal and loved teaching there. So it was a good experience, but I'm so grateful I was a server because you just never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
And if you're consistently doing a good job, people will notice. I also got my scholarship for college because of waitressing.
Really?
Yeah. The Mencken scholarship.
Uh-huh.
I didn't apply for it my senior. I applied for a ton of scholarships. I was like, I'm not applying for it. There's no way they're going to give it to me. Well, I served the people who were in charge of that scholarship consistently. Here again, they had very high standards. They were kind of hard to figure out. Once you figured them out, lots of respect. And I would usually tell my tables, hey, I'm like in college, meaning please tip me.
Yeah, right.
Give me a little extra. And so anyways, she was like, hey, did you ever apply for a scholarship? And I was like, I applied for a lot. I'm paying for my own education and put that on all my applications and didn't get any scholarships. And she's like, make sure you apply. And sure
What?
enough, I applied, I did the interview, and they even after I did the interview before my dad died and then went back, they had another interview after. So my dad knew I got the scholarship, which was really special.
Oh yeah.
And he was so happy because he was like, it's just not fair that this kid's, been saving money and working hard her whole life and all this stuff
Hmm.
and didn't get anything.
Yeah.
And so he knew. And then they interviewed me afterwards, like, so how are you going to stay in college because of what happened and all of that? And I was like, I have a really good roommate, and I have friends. So I think it'll be okay. Like I've got to see it through. So they let me keep the scholarship, risking that I might drop out.
Yeah.
Um, but there again, because of waiting tables. So I'm a big believer in getting around people.
Yeah. Well, and never, never underestimating the impressions you might be making at any moment.
Mhm.
You never know who's watching,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
know.
I could have been annoyed by these people's high standards. I could have just been
Hmm.
like, forget it. I don't want to serve these people. But I'm like, nope, that's what they want. It's only fair. They're paying for their meal. They should get what they want. They're being kind, and so grateful that it worked out really well.
What a cool story. So, okay, and at this point, when you were in Indianapolis, were you married at that point? Had you guys gotten married yet, or were you still dating Berg at that point?
Yeah, I was still dating Brooke. So my first year of teaching, we were dating. I don't know how I survived as far as like the number of hours, right? First year teachers put in, I've never worked so hard in my life
Yeah.
as I did as a first year teacher. And so, and I was thrown into like English. I wanted to teach science. So I had to teach English, which ended up working out really well, as you know, Kelly.
Yeah, right. Fair.
Life has a way of doing that.
It does, doesn't it?
um, so I was teaching, and then I would go back to Purdue to see Burke regularly on the weekends and hang out there for the weekend. So I'm like college kid with him on the weekend and teaching during the week. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lives of young people, what you can do when you're young.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and then you were like, oh, I know. So I'm going to get married, and then I'm going to sign up for an Ironman. When did that fall into your life,
Yeah. So we
or
got
having?
married. We were married for about a year. And then we
Hmm.
went on like a really cool vacation out to like Montana and Washington State and all of that. We hiked a mountain. Wonderful trip. I did the Indy Mini Marathon as well. That's
Hmm.
13.1 miles.
Yep.
And when I did that race, I was like, man, my breathing, like I'm having a hard time breathing. So I went to the doctors, like, oh, you have bronchitis. And I'm like, wow, like I did a half marathon with bronchitis. And at that time, I seemed to have asthma as well and didn't
Oh,
have an inhaler. So I was like, okay. And I needed to use my rescue inhaler almost every 2 hours that I was awake. I was like, that's so weird. Like, what's going on? But I got better, hiked the mountain. And then when I started teaching, I like had this really bad cough. And of course, keep in mind, I was a swimmer. So like my lung capacity is off the charts.
yeah.
And the principal knew where I was in the building because he could hear me coughing. Like
Oh,
it was
wow.
a deep, big cough. And I was like, this is so weird. I started going to doctors. So then it was like my health declined that entire school year. And it
And
just
this was your second year teaching, or
this would have been my fourth year of
fourth year
teaching.
teaching? Okay.
That's when I left teaching. I was like, I went from being the teacher that would like jump up on desks to prove a point, or we would do diagramming sentences by running laps outside and I would race the kids, to some days I would sit in a wheelchair to teach. My students would have to push me in my wheelchair, or because it was a Catholic school, like we would go to mass And sometimes I would have to like put my arm either over or like through a student's, arm to help me walk back or walk up to take communion. And there was a moment, this is how you know you're really sick, is there was a moment I was in a single bathroom. Like it was just the toilet and the sink. So there's like definitely nobody else in there with me. And I'm washing my hands and I look up and I'm like, oh my, who is that woman? She looks so sick. She looks like she's dying.
Mm.
And then I snapped out of it and I was like, oh, that's me. That's why people look at me with fear.
Mm.
They're seeing what I just saw. And still to this day, I rarely look in a mirror because I trained myself. I was like, I can't see that. My mindset has to be strong to fight whatever this is going on in my body. None of the doctors can figure it out. I had seen over 10 different specialists. Like nobody could figure out what was going on. My test results were saying I was like pretty healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, maybe it's stress. So I went and got like a psychological examination because I thought maybe it's in my head. I don't know. It wasn't, but the person who did the exam was like, this is definitely not anything in your head. It's not stress. It's something internal in your body that's going on. So I attribute a lot of my being able to fight to my high school swim coach drilling in me, your body can do more than it thinks it can.
Mm-hmm.
Because I should have been bedridden. And I was I was taken to the ER from school one day. It's a couple teachers, they had to carry me out of the school. Luckily, they did it where none of the kids could see me and went to the ER. And then the school that I taught at, the people were so incredible. A couple friends came to see me in the ER and they said, so you're taking a week off of school. I'm like, what? Like, I don't have any lesson plans done. Like, I've been so sick. I haven't done them yet. And they're like, well, we're going to do them. And I'm like, no, I can go today. I was going to leave the ER to go do lesson plans for the week. And then they're like, no,
No, you
no.
stay. We got this. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so they like even graded my papers for me. I was like, I have such a huge stack of papers. Like I'm too sick. And then Mrs. Barden, she is somebody who is near and dear to me. She was on call for me the whole school year. She's like, anytime you need me, you call me because I live close. She had also taught for 40 years and was retired. So it's like a perfect transition for her to still be in the
Mm-hmm.
classroom. And I knew like my students are probably in better hands with her than me. She's got so much experience. Like they're going to be fine. And so she would come in on call. It was my principal who got me a wheelchair and told me, you need this. I can see it. My principal said, I hope I'm not crossing any lines here, but you're very sick. Something's seriously wrong and you need to keep looking for answers. And he even gave me a referral to a doctor. And I had a parent at the school that said, you advocate for yourself. Like, your body better than anybody else. And she was going through aggressive breast cancer at the time.
Yeah.
So it was like all these people here again, it was like these people rallying around to help that I knew were praying for me. Families would say, our kids are praying for you every night. And, it's the people that help you get through.
Yeah. But at this point, so you're in your mid-20s, newly married, young teacher, out of nowhere, you're just basically bedridden and feel like you're dying, look like you're dying because you pretty much are dying
Yeah.
and they can't figure out what's going on. I mean, where do you go from there?
I ended up, my sister-in-law had a connection because of her college degree to IU Med, a research
Mm-hmm.
hospital. And I love women doctors, by the way, and nurses. Nurses are great advocates because they knew when these doctors were like dismissing, they're like, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They knew and would speak up for me. And this one doctor, she was like, yeah, the way I was walking was weird. Like combat boots.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't pick up my feet right. So they were thinking neurological. Do you have MS? Like, what is going on? So she was like asking around the whole hospital, trying to find out like what is going on with this young athlete. Like something's not right.
Yeah.
And then even she got to the point that she was like, well, sometimes with stress. And I thought, I'm not denying that stress isn't a factor in picking up health issues or heart attacks or things like that. But I was like, yeah, it's something's wrong. So at this point, people hear my story and they think the hardest part being like being in a wheelchair some days, or having my husband carry me upstairs because I couldn't even walk sometimes, or
Hmm.
crawl up the stairs. Like those were hard moments, or giving up cooking because I couldn't stand long enough to cook. All of that was hard, and people don't realize how much of a toll chronic health issues take on a person.
Hmm.
But the hardest part was being 26 and giving up on my dreams.
Mm.
Like I didn't know what kinds of things I wanted to do with my life other than I wanted to live to be at least 100 and healthy, have a family, have
Mm.
kids, and wanted to do good with my
Yeah.
life. And there was one day I was laying on the couch and I was like, okay, I'm not done fighting. I don't know how to stop fighting.
Yeah. Right. That's not in your DNA.
It's not even in my moments of darkest depression.
Hmm.
I've been able to like pull myself out and keep fighting, right? I think it really is human survival. We're wired to do that
Hmm.
in a lot of ways, but I was accepting reality. Like, I can't, I definitely can't be a teacher. This isn't fair to my students to have a teacher who can't properly teach them. And it's not fair to my husband. I know we said in sickness and in health, but like for real, a year into our marriage,
Yeah.
not fair. I definitely will not be having kids because I was too sick to even take care of myself. Like my mom would come down and take care of me. Like I was just too sick. I was like, that's not fair to do to the kids. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to be a mom. And I was like, so what can I do? And I hope that's what people take from this moment is you got to feel all the feelings and
Yeah.
accept reality. That doesn't mean giving up. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I know what I can do. I will encourage everybody else to go for their goals and dreams. And I'll be that friend that whenever somebody tells me that they have a dream in their heart, I'm going to be their biggest supporter and encourager and say, yes, get it. Let's brainstorm. Let's figure it out. Let's make it happen.
Hmm.
Right. I'm not going to plant seeds of doubt in people.
Mm.
And I could probably go around to schools. And if it's a wheelchair day, I'll sit in my wheelchair. If it's a day I can stand up, I'll stand up. And I'll encourage kids to go for their goals and dreams.
Yeah.
And I'd have flexibility. And the thing people don't realize is how expensive it is to be sick. So I needed
Mm.
to still make money some way as well. So I'm like, it's like fitting, like I can still do something good. I could still make a little money. And then my first big dream was to make it to 40 years old. Because I kept telling people, I'm not dying. Like, hello,
Yeah.
I'm not going to die right now. Like, not allowed. So I was like, I've got to make it to at least 40. Then I can reevaluate where I'm at. And ultimately, I have to live one day longer than my mom. Have to. She's been through so much in her life. Like, she does
You
not
can't
need to
do
go
that
through.
to her. Yeah.
No. So someday when she's gone, the next day I can go, but it has to be the next day. So that was my mindset of like how to get through the next steps. I was so tired of the poke, prod, and prescribe method
Yeah.
and was like, I need to take a break from all of this. My mom was wanting to take me to Mayo Clinic. And I was like,
Yeah.
nope, I just need a minute to like stop getting poked at and all
Yeah.
of this stuff, right?
And you just, so you stopped taking medicine or like what?
Yeah, so they didn't really they put me on like a lot of steroid type stuff for my breathing.
Yeah.
They put me, so I wasn't on anything long term. I was like the one doctor, which this could be like a whole series. I'm not going to go into it too much.
Oh man.
I love good doctors and I value good
Yeah.
doctors. The bad ones are just, anyways. So the one doctor, I finally was like, all right, so I guess if you want to prescribe me some mental health type medicine, like I guess go ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't end up I got the prescription and then I looked at the bottles and I was like, no, that's not what's causing this. And I know with chronic health issues, depression usually starts coming on because it's so hard. It's so
Right.
hard being sick all
Yeah.
the time,
It's
right?
not the cause of it. It's a byproduct of it.
Right. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not depressed. I know what that feels like. I'm fighting for my life. So there was a book called Anatomy of an Illness by Norman Cousins. It's an old book, like probably from the 70s or something. So some
Okay.
of it's probably outdated, right? But one of the things it said in there was to find ways to laugh. Now, I couldn't laugh too much because it would hurt my rib cage from all the
Mm.
coughing. But I started going to half price books and getting friends. I was like, I need to just be putting like laughter and good stuff. So even if I was laying there like sleeping, I was listening to something fun and funny, lighthearted. So if I ever meet anybody from Friends, I'm gonna like have a mental break. I'm like, you helped me.
That's hilarious.
And then I
Oh,
also watched Buffy because I'm like, I need to have a fighter's mentality. And Buffy is a fighter. So I listened to Friends and Buffy, and it helped
yeah,
significantly.
absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it. So you're like, forget your medicine and your chemicals. I'm going to prescribe myself Friends and Buffy and do this my way. I love it. I think that should be more more readily utilized therapy source. I subscribe.
Oh my goodness. Well, and the thing is, I do believe mindset isn't everything, but it almost is.
Hmm.
And the reality, when you're that sick, the only thing you're left with is prayer.
Yeah.
At least for me. I know some people don't have that faith, but find something that you can cling to that helps you keep going. And it's the
Yeah.
only thing that you care about in the world. And it's so
Yeah.
sad because now I do take my health for granted sometimes.
Mm.
Like for the longest time, I would see stairs and just be like, after I got better, and just be like, I cannot believe I can walk up these easily.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even have to think about it. I can just walk up and down the stairs like a fool.
So let's talk a little bit about that because clearly you're not dead. And I won't tell exactly how old you are, but you are older than 40.
Oh, I'm
So,
41 and proud of it.
oh, so clearly something happened. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about that. Like what finally changed?
Yeah. So I have an aunt and uncle in Kentucky who called to tell me about a product. And this is what's funny too, when you're sick and don't know what it is, which it's very hard to fight blind.
Hmm.
Lots of people will tell you, like, maybe you have ALS. And I'm like, I looked that up and I was like, no,
No.
definitely not. My heart goes out to anybody who gets that diagnosis. Um, so you're looking at things and trying to figure it out and looking at products and of course all these network marketing products, that they have all these testimonials and all of that. And so my aunt and uncle were like, you need to try it. You need to try it. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. So this was May of 2010.
Okay.
And there was a documentary on the Discovery Channel about this tree called moringa
Yep.
that they were finding was reversing malnutrition in children in third world countries. It was helping women produce breast milk. And I thought, okay, so if it's helping people in third world countries, which their tummies are very sensitive when they start getting nutrients and like food sources, and if it's safe enough for breastfeeding, like it seems interesting. And my aunt and uncle were very adamant, like this could help you. And I thought, God love them. So sweet. I don't think so. This sounds like too good to be true. So I have a cousin, she's a top ranked doctor and like award winning, like phenomenal. And I was like, hey, can you look into this? Because we don't know what's going on. She was even trying to offer suggestions, like maybe I had lupus and things like that. She's like,
Yeah.
it's not my field with what you have. So anyway, she looked into it. She's like, listen, there's nothing in it that's going to hurt you. You may as well try it.
Okay.
So, and my aunt and uncle even offered to pay for it. Like that's how much they believed in it and how generous and sweet they are. And I was like, at this point, like $100 is a drop in the bucket for everything that we've paid for. So I wasn't even worried about the money. So I thought I'll just try it to appease them. And like within a week, which this is crazy results. So here again, I'm not prescribing, diagnosing, whatever, right? There's the disclaimer. But within a week, I was like not needing my inhaler at all. I was like, I'm breathing better. I was able to jog, like a little tiny short jog. Like I went for
Wow.
a walk and I was like, I think I could just do a little jog. It was very slow. It was maybe like 100 meters. And I got back to my house. I was like, well, look at me. Huh. I think I need to set a new goal. Kelly,
Yep. I get it.
Kelly, being an achiever is problematic sometimes. So, I mean, why not set a goal to do a half Ironman?
Yeah, let's go from a wheelchair to a half Ironman. No, so tell everybody what a half Ironman is, because it it's it sounds insane because it is.
Yeah.
But what
Well,
exactly is a half Ironman?
I need to first of all preface it with this. Originally, like as a child, my goal was to do a full Ironman. So I settled with a half, which a half Ironman is 1.2 miles of swimming, 56 miles of biking, 13.1 miles of running, back to back to back. And I was like, well, I could take time to train for it and we'll just see, like maybe I'll keep getting better. And so I did keep getting better and I did train for it. And it was like a little over a year later, it was like a year and a few months later, I did the Steelhead half Ironman. Now, they did cancel the swim, which as you know is like my bread and butter. But it
Yeah.
was a good thing they canceled it. There were riptides,
Oh.
which I was like, oh. And then I saw a riptide. I'm like, oh, good thing they canceled.
Yeah.
And then it was very cold. We went straight up hill, like immediately we were on hills. Being from Indiana, I didn't have the opportunity to train on hills very much. And then it was very short into the bike. I was like, something's wrong with me.
Mm.
I don't know why I keep looking at the ground wanting to sleep. Like I
Oh
hadn't
no.
slept great the night before because of jitters.
Sure. Yeah.
And of course I had a lot of adrenaline. And so the adrenaline, once that kind of wanes, but I was like, like I didn't feel, I could tell when I was training something was a little off, but like not bad enough to worry about it, you know?
Hmm.
And that's when I was like, okay, something's not right. I did finish the 56 miles of biking. I get my bike put away, get my shoes switched out. And the first aid station, they had like peaches and like all this great stuff. I like devoured the food, which makes sense in a minute. But like I ate a ton of peaches. I drank, I needed sugar is what I felt like. And I'm like, this is so weird. But So I walked the 13.1 miles
Mhm.
and did a lot of walking, but during the race, I got to ask people their stories.
Look at you. Of course
It
you
was
did.
it was so fun because people don't do a race like that typically, like especially in the back. Like the competitors in the front, they're competitors. They're doing stuff
Yeah.
like this all. Those of us in the back had reasons to be there,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was so cool. Like your story, which you will have to share at some point.
Yeah.
Um, but like it was people who were either trying to lose weight or they had lost weight or they were raising money for a friend fighting cancer or they just needed to prove to themselves something, like it was like story after story. So I thought this is like really cool to hear all these reasons why people are doing something like this. And people
Mhm.
cheer for each other in triathlons a lot because there's a lot of space where there's like nobody watching, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And so that was pretty special to hear people's stories and stuff.
That is cool. Well, and for anybody thinking about a half Ironman, I can say from the perspective of somebody who was very decidedly anti running slash sports slash anything physical for the majority of my, like, I would say, uh, well, 2/3 of my life. I was like, what is that amount? Yeah, 2/3 of my life, and then training for a marathon. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And there are some really cool takeaways from it. And the stories and the relationships you build, it is such an amazing community. That can be, and because yes, there's the competitive element, but I'm going to say the majority of the people are not competitive. It's
No, it's
it's
really
not
the
about,
people in the front.
yeah, and let them go do their thing. But there's a whole other community that is just centered around like support and lifting each other up. It really truly is a special community.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's about like bettering yourself,
Yeah.
because I mean, yes, you can be a little competitive with other people, but really it is about like self betterment and
Yeah.
feeling that progress and growth. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I love that community. All right. So you do the half Ironman, you get through it, but you're like, something's not right. And this was after, so you started taking the Moringa.
Hmm.
It went from like basically can't move to you could walk and you know, jog 100 meters. And you're like, okay, I'm signing up for a half Ironman. A year later, a
I
year,
might need
which
an evaluation.
I mean, maybe. A year later you do a half Ironman, so you're getting better. You're like, okay, I'm over it, I've got this. I have
Yeah.
no clue what it was. Maybe, I mean, you still didn't know, you
No,
just
and
knew
what
you felt better.
yeah. And like who cares?
Yeah,
Right?
right,
I
right,
don't
at
even
this
care.
point. Yeah.
If it's placebo effect, this is the best placebo effect and I don't even care and I'll pay for it every month. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And what was cool too is because it was in a network marketing company, which I will always advocate for people doing network marketing in a good network marketing company. Because here again, everything you learn, there's so much learning and opportunity for that if you
Hmm.
find the right one.
Right.
So there's the disclaimer,
Cat.
right?
Yeah.
And I got to be part of the largest and fastest growing team inside the company with incredible mentorship. Incredible mentorship. So I'm also got like a career path now because I'm like, everybody needs to know about Moringa. And I still believe that everybody needs to have Moringa in their lives. Wherever you get it, that's on you. But like, I love my Moringa every day. So I am speaking. I learned I love public speaking. I got this career path. I got this great mentorship and was being recognized as like a leader within the team, which eventually became a leader within the company and was building a team. Like it was so cool. I'm like, my life is like a dream come true.
I, and this all happened like basically in that year.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like a really fast. So like so the product came into my life May of 2010. I went to a conference like that winter and was
Hmm.
like, I just want to go, like, why is it helping me? That's all I
Yeah.
want to understand, right? And then I learned all about the business. And I was like, there's a lot of teachers and coaches. Hello, teacher.
Yeah.
Opportunity to help people. feel
Mhm.
better and make money, like this is checking a lot of boxes for me.
Yeah.
It felt right for me. And it's
Mhm.
also why it was hurtful when people question my integrity, because it's like, this is a decision that's been based on integrity of
Yeah.
why I started it, right? And so I, like, January, I started actively building my business. And then through the fall, through what was it, September is when the half Ironman was, I think. I was building this team and had, at that point, I think I had, a few hundred people on my team probably, and started with nobody and built it to that, which is very hard to do in network marketing. So it was like fun and rewarding. And then after the half Ironman, I actually the first couple days felt pretty good, but I had like a couple weird rashes that popped up. So I had
Mhm.
one on my foot for quite a while, but then I had a couple of rashes pop up and I was like, oh no, the company changed the formula. And I was mad. So I contacted the product formulator and I was like, what did you do to the product? He said, what are you talking about? I said, I was doing great on this product. It's changed my life. And now I have all these rashes. He's like, where are they? And I told him, like, my neck, my arm, my foot, like weird places. And
Yeah.
he's, there is something going on. You have something in your body that should not be there. You need to contact this particular doctor and get help. This is an emergency. And I was like, he's kind of dramatic sometimes. So I was like, eh. I had an upline trying to rank advance. So I was like helping my upline, going on a date with my husband. I was like, I'll call this doctor later. I did call that doctor, told him my symptoms. He said, why don't you go off of it? See what happens. So I was like, all right, that's like an easy thing to try. So I went off of it. And within 2 weeks, I was like, I'm feeling super fatigued. My breathing is getting worse again. I'm feeling like garbage. We need to find a different way. So I told the doctor, I was like, which he was like a naturally, he was a chiropractor, but he had different certifications, supposedly, to look at things from more of a natural, holistic
Yeah.
standpoint. Medical doctors didn't figure it out. Let's see if this guy can.
Yeah.
Why not? Right.
Yeah.
So after hearing my testimony, he was like, oh, we need to do some tests. Something's not right. And then that's when he found that I had parasites, which you can get anywhere. I think it's funny people think you have to go out of the country, as if like the United States can't possibly have parasites.
Yeah.
We don't have bugs in our country and worms. And people think it's just like tapeworm or hookworm, pinworms, but like there's all different kinds of parasites that can be microscopic. So, anyways, then I went back to like fighting these parasites and all sorts of other things that I had going on that go with it. Typically, you get candida and bacterias and all sorts of things because of the parasites, and had to go back to fighting from my couch and was very sick again for quite a while.
Wow. So was it, did you go back to taking the moringa after you went off of it, and but then it just didn't work like it had before for you? Is that?
So it actually, so I went, like, I had the 2 weeks off and then
Yeah.
I started taking it again and I started feeling a little better. Like I knew I still wasn't 100%, but I'm like, it's making me feel better.
Yeah.
That's what I need right now.
Yeah.
I need to still have this in my system because without it, I'm going to go back to not functioning again,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So how long did you have to fight before you got a clean bill of health after like they found out that you had the parasites?
Yeah, parasites are tricky to kill off. So like I went through multiple rounds of killing them off. I had to do
Mm.
like a crazy food protocol. Looking back, I don't think I had to do what all I did to get better.
Hmm.
Um, but at the time,
You were going to
it's all
do
I needed to
whatever.
do. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I had a lot of suffering through all of that, and it was really hard. And so like it was a solid year of like the crazy food plan. I got down to like 105 pounds.
Oh
And
shoot.
right now I'm like 135. and I'm only 5'2". So like when you lose weight at that height, I looked
Yeah.
sick, you
Yeah.
know? Um, and so, yeah, I did that. And then it was like a few years of just like, I was very afraid of getting sick again.
Yeah.
And then I finally got like a clear bill of health for sure when I was like probably 30.
Wow.
Yeah, where it was like I finally had the courage to ask because I was kind of afraid, like, am I actually healthy? And there again, looking back, I did not need to do all of those protocols like I did. There's better ways to do it. There's more effective and efficient ways to do it. There are less suffering ways to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, but it was what I knew at the time. So I think I could have gotten much healthier a lot faster if I had different protocols. But at 30, I was like, okay, I'm going to ask if am I actually healthy? So
Wow.
I won't.
Yeah. So, okay. So all through that, you are just obviously focusing on yourself, but then also focusing on this business. Uh, and also at 30, were you thinking, well, maybe a family? When did that kind of come into your head? Like maybe I could be a mom again. Maybe I don't have to let that go.
Yeah. Well, and you've probably experienced this too, Kelly. It's
Hmm.
very kind when people are like, oh, you'd be such a great mom. You should be a mom. Why aren't you a mom? Are you going to have kids? And you're like, none
Yeah.
ya, none ya
Right.
business. Right. And so people mean well, but I just started like saying the blanketed, like, oh, I don't even want to be a mom because it was too painful. Like it was too painful to say, like, that dream is long gone because I'm too afraid that I'm going to get sick again. And
Yeah.
it's too long of a story and it's none of your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Even with loved ones, because I have people who love me very much who later apologized and said I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, that's why people shouldn't say those things. But people, so when I got healthy, I pretty much got pregnant like right away, like right away. And so I'm very grateful. Fertility, luckily, worked in my favor. And then there were some people that were like, did you want it? Like, is this like, yes, I wanted a baby all along. I just had to tell everybody I didn't want them because it was too painful.
Yeah.
So yeah, people were surprised, which was
But
fun.
yeah, that is fun. Well, it's a happy surprise, hopefully.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was the best. Yeah. Yeah. I love being a mom.
Yeah. Awesome. So you pregnant, growing your business, feeling better. Whew, girl. It's like roller coaster ride.
Mhm.
Did you finally feel like, okay, maybe I've got a handle on this thing? Like maybe I'm in the clear, or were you still kind of like peeking around every corner? Or were you finally like, I'm
Yeah.
free, I can do this?
It's interesting. I think at that point, I still felt pretty free. I was building so much confidence.
Yeah.
Like in network marketing, they're really good at encouraging and supporting and building confidence in people. And so
Hmm.
I felt very like safe with the team I was a part of. And, professionally, it was going really well. Like I
Hmm.
got to speak and travel all across the country. And it was just such a cool experience. And I got to have some really interesting, fun experiences because of it. I also learned the importance of residual income. Everybody needs a residual income source because when I was sick fighting my parasites, I was still getting a paycheck every week.
Yeah.
And even though I haven't built my business for many, many years, I still get a paycheck every week because of what I built when I was really actively pursuing it and
Yeah.
because it's such a good product, right? So like I learned the power of that and I'm thinking, man, I got all this personal development I've been doing. I've
Hmm.
worked through so much of my social anxieties and fears and challenges and now I get to be a mom and luckily the pregnancy went really well. I was only sick for like a month.
Wow.
Second one, that's a different story. But the first one was only like a month. So like it was just like, man, this is so great. Like I feel really strong
Hmm.
and yeah, I've got a good handle on things.
Yeah. Well, but life wasn't done giving you tools just yet.
Will
You
it
needed,
ever be? Can
no,
you?
probably not. Probably not. But there was what we'll talk about next, because I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping up this segment. See,
Yeah.
told you it wasn't going to be three. Um, there's another critical piece that really I think plays into explaining or giving a good foundation for where you are today. And we'll start diving into that next time we chat. But I do love to look, like, I think a lot of people, if you told your story, they could look back at your life and just see like tragedy after tragedy and think, geez, how much can this girl take? But the way that you have reframed and taken these hardships or these challenges or traumas and woven them into assets or tools that you now cherish, to be quite honest. They're things that you earned the hard way. They're, treasures to you. I think it speaks to that mindset and how life is. Again, we mentioned this last time, it's not linear. It's dips and turns and weaves and all of those things, but at the end of the day you can come out of it with a treasured asset of a life lesson that you couldn't have gotten any other way. And life had given you a lot of treasured assets, but the best was yet to come.
I keep having these, conversations with God. Like, can I just learn them through other people's stories and books? Like, can we strike a deal?
Yeah. Yes, right. Instead, you do things like this and share and provide those treasured assets for others, and you do what you wish you could do, but unfortunately didn't play out that way for you. I'm so sorry, Tasha.
Hey, I can laugh about it. It's good.
Yeah, yeah. She's still here, y'all. She's still here. She made it.
Oh
Or
my
she's
God.
making it, thriving.
Yeah, that's right.
So, all right. So we'll dive into that next time we chat. But thank you again for sharing. I know that um, there's a lot of mystery around illness, especially chronic illness, and to just have a little bit of an insight into what that experience is from a firsthand perspective is really helpful, especially for people who maybe know somebody who's going through that and don't have that deep understanding as somebody who's actually been through it themselves. So thank you again for sharing that.
Absolutely. I hope it helps people. I hope all of this helps
Yeah.
people and
Yeah.
people keep listening, because I guess you could say the juiciest stuff is coming up next.
Spoilers.
So there's more to come. Thank you, Kelly, for being part of this. I love you, friend.
Absolutely. Love you too.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Diary of a Dreamer. I hope you found the stories and tips shared today to be a source of motivation and strength. Remember, every challenge you face is a chance to grow and move closer to your dreams. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with anyone who could use a boost of encouragement. Please check out my website, tashaeisinger.com.